a driver makes a grave mistake by picking up a mysterious passenger. Welcome to Monster Motel. I still remember the night that changed the way I think about strangers. It was the spring of 2019 in Phoenix, Arizona. I was 28 years old, working nights as a rideshare driver to help cover rent after losing my full-time job. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills, and most nights were boring enough to blur together. Quick trips, small talk, drunk passengers on weekends. But then came the ride request that still wakes me up some nights. It was about 10:45 p.m. when my phone buzzed with the familiar rideshare ping. I glanced at the screen. Pickup, 3 minutes away. Passenger, Evan. The location was a strip mall on the edge of town. Not unusual, plenty of people got rides from bars or late-night restaurants. I accepted without thinking twice. When I pulled into the parking lot, I saw him right away. A man in a gray hoodie stood under the dim yellow light near a closed laundromat. He wasn't on his phone. He wasn't looking for my car. He was just standing there, perfectly still, hands in his pockets. As soon as I slowed to a stop, he turned his head toward me. He slid into the back seat without a word. The smell of cigarette smoke and something faintly metallic drifted in with him. "Evening," I said, keeping my voice casual. "You, Evan?" He paused for a beat, then answered, "Yeah." His voice was flat, almost careful, like he was testing the word before saying it. The app showed the destination, a neighborhood 20 minutes north. No special instructions, no unusual notes. I put the car in drive and pulled out. The first 5 minutes were quiet. I tried to make the usual small talk, asked if he'd had a long night, if he was heading home. Nothing, just silence. The only sound was the faint scratch of fabric when he shifted in the seat. That's when I noticed something odd. I had been driving for a while, but when I glanced at the navigation screen, I realized the app was directing me in a wide loop, not the straight shot north I expected. I thought maybe it was avoiding traffic, but at this hour, the roads were nearly empty. "Hey, just making sure," I said, glancing at him in the mirror. "You still want me to follow the app's route, right? Looks like a bit of a detour." His eyes met mine in the reflection. Cold, unblinking. "That's fine," he said softly. Something in the way he said it made my skin crawl. About 10 minutes in, I glanced into the rear view again. He wasn't staring out the window like most passengers. He was watching me. Not casually, not like people sometimes do when they're zoning out. He was locked onto my reflection in the mirror, eyes steady, unblinking. I tried to laugh it off, gripping the wheel tighter. "You doing okay back there?" He smiled, a slow, unnatural curl of his lips, but didn't answer. That smile stayed with me. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't nervous. It was like he was in on a joke that I hadn't been told yet. When the GPS instructed me to take a left, I noticed something else. Instead of heading toward the neighborhood pinned as his destination, the app had me turning onto a series of side roads, narrower, darker, less traveled. I frowned and double-checked the screen. The destination hadn't changed, but the blue line twisted through streets I didn't recognize, almost circling the city block by block. I pulled into the turn, my heart starting to race. "Can you do me a favor?" he asked suddenly. It was the first time he'd spoken since confirming his name. His voice was calm, deliberate. "Sure," I said cautiously. "Turn off the app. Just drive. I'll tell you where to go." My stomach sank. Every instinct screamed, "Don't do it." "Sorry, man. Company policy. Gotta keep the app running for the ride to count. Insurance thing." His smile faded. His eyes narrowed. "Turn it off," he repeated, quieter this time. I tightened my grip on the wheel. "Can't do that, but I'll get you where you need to go." For a long moment, he didn't answer. The silence stretched so thick, I could hear my own heartbeat. Then just as suddenly, he leaned back in the seat and chuckled. "Okay," he said. But I didn't believe him. Another 10 minutes passed. I kept driving, trying to follow the app, but my eyes flicked to the mirror every few seconds. That's when I saw it. His hand slipped from the pocket of his hoodie, and in it was something that caught the faint glow of the streetlight. A knife. Small, folding, but unmistakably sharp. My chest tightened, my breath caught in my throat. He didn't raise it, didn't threaten me outright. He just rested it across his lap, tapping his finger against the blade like it was a toy. I forced myself to stay calm, pretending I hadn't noticed, but my mind was racing. What do I do? Keep driving? Stop? Jump out of the car? I glanced at the GPS again. The app's route was bending toward an industrial area I didn't know well. Fewer houses, less lights. Panic started bubbling in my chest. I had to think. I remembered something a fellow driver once told me. If you ever feel unsafe, you can tap the app's emergency button, which connects to 911. But if I reached for my phone, he'd see it. So instead, I tried something else. I spoke out loud, pretending I was talking to someone through Bluetooth. "Hey, babe. Yeah, almost done with this ride. Should be home in 20 minutes. Yeah, love you too." Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him freeze. His smile returned, tighter this time. "You got someone waiting for you?" he asked. "Yep," I said quickly. "Girlfriend. She tracks my rides sometimes just to be safe." That was a lie. I lived alone at the time. But he didn't need to know that. As we approached a major intersection, I made a decision. I wasn't going to let him lead me into a dead zone. When the light turned green, instead of following the app's next instruction, I swung the car onto a busy boulevard. Brighter lights, late-night traffic, gas station still open. Instantly, his tone changed. "Where are you going?" he asked sharply. "App rerouted," I said quickly. "It happens sometimes." His knife tapped against his leg, faster now. "I told you to turn it off," he whispered. I spotted a gas station up ahead, bright lights, a few cars at the pumps. I made up my mind. "Sorry, man, gotta stop here real quick. Low fuel," I lied. My tank was half full, but he didn't know that. I pulled into the lot, parked by a pump, and threw the car into park. Before he could react, I unbuckled, opened my door, and stepped into the bright floodlights. My heart hammered as I forced myself to walk casually toward the convenience store. Behind me, I heard his door click open. I turned sharply, raising my voice just enough for nearby customers to hear. "Hey, can I get a receipt for pump 3? The man in the hoodie froze by the open car door. He glanced at the people nearby, a couple filling their tank, a man smoking in his car, and a couple of others wandering around. Too many eyes. Slowly, he slid back into the seat. I walked inside the store, grabbed a bottle of water I didn't need, and stalled. My pulse was racing, my hands trembling. When I finally looked back outside, the car was empty. The passenger seat door hung open. He was gone. I quit rideshare driving not long after that. To this day, when I drive at night, I still catch myself checking the rearview mirror more than I should. Because I know now, sometimes the scariest monsters don't come from ghost stories. Sometimes they're just a man in your back seat, smiling at you in the dark.